Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Tower of God New World. In today's video, we are going to check out the brand new SSR unit, Reflejo. Really excited to test this character out, and so far, he impressed me. This unit is actually pretty good. So let's not waste any time and let's go ahead and test out this character. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at his kit. So passive Fragment of Shadow. It says Reflejo uses basic attacks that deal damage to enemies within range in a fan-shaped area. When the last basic attack hit lands, targets have their evasion decreased by 10% for 5 seconds, max 3 stacks. And Reflejo gains 1 Fragment of Shadow, max 3 stacks. At 3 Fragment of Shadow stacks, they are consumed to increase Reflejo's physical pierce by 6%, max 5 stacks, and decrease damage taken by 70% for 4 seconds. So his passive is really stacked. There's a lot of stuff going on, but what's really important in his passive is, of course, the evasion decrease. It says max 3 stacks, so that's pretty much 30% evasion decrease. And then you also have the Fragment of Shadows stacks, which is going to give him physical pierce increase, and it's also going to decrease the amount of damage he takes by like 70%, which is very, very good. So that's pretty much his passive. Now we move on to his active skill, Death Moon Shadow. As Reflejo launches Shadow Shinsu in a fan-shaped area to deal 400% of his attack as damage to enemies in range. He plants shadows that gnaw at enemies Shinsu to decrease their evasion by 25% for 12 seconds, then deals 400% of his attack as additional damage using Demon Moon Shadow. So he pretty much has evasion decrease as well in his active skill, and he's pretty much dealing damage in Death Moon Shadow active skill. Now moving on, we have Ninth Moon Shadow. It says Reflejo slashes the enemy in the shape of a cross to deal 450% of his attack as damage 2 times. He absorbs their shadow for 12 seconds if the last attack lands, dealing 35% of their physical resistance and magic resistance. So this part right here, dealing damage. But the thing is, what I find really confusing about the Ninth Moon Shadow is it says stealing. So it doesn't say that he's going to decrease the opponent's physical and magic resistance. It says that he is going to steal their physical and magic resistance. So somebody can confirm this in the comment section down below. But can he apply the enemy's physical and magic resistance to himself? Because it says that he's stealing their physical and magic resistance. So I'm guessing that he can pretty much, steal their physical and magic resistance and he can apply that to himself. So I don't know. Somebody can confirm that in the comment section down below. I'm not 100% sure. Now for his special move, it says Full Moon Shadow. Reflejo swings a large scythe to deal 900% of his attack as damage to nearby enemies and send them airborne for 4 seconds. After Reflejo's damage taken with each hit does not exceed 2% of his max HP for 5 seconds. Reflejo becomes invincible while using this skill. So what's really good about this special move is that he can pretty much interrupt enemy attacks. Like he can pretty much interrupt Datamashini's shield. If you're like, a boss type player, if you're like fighting against bosses in Underground Laboratory, he's going to be very useful against Datamashini because he can actually interrupt her shield, which is really good. And this part right here is crazy. The fact that he pretty much, like, the damage taken with each hit does not exceed 2% of his max HP. That is really, really good. That makes him a very, very tanky unit overall. So looking at his kit is stacked. Evasion decrease, physical and magic resistance, he's stealing that from the opponent. Decreased damage taken, sending enemies airborne. Reflejo's damage taken with each hit does not exceed 2% of his max HP. A lot of stuff going on. So his kit, very, very good, but there is a lot of, damage involved in his kit. Like you have 900% of his attack as damage, you have physical pierce increase. It's pretty obvious that they're trying to increase his damage in his kit, but I do feel like for Reflejo, you want to focus on, survivability, because his job is to pretty much debuff enemies, and that's going to allow other DPS units to do a lot more damage. Now, by the way, guys, about the physical and magic resistance steal, he actually applies this to himself. I had to confirm this with somebody. He actually does apply the, physical and magic resistance he stole from the enemy, and he applies that to himself, which is really, really good. So if you're lacking physical and magic resistance, this active skill is very useful because he can pretty much steal the opponent's physical and magic resistance, which is very, very powerful. Now, when we take a look at his exclusive equipment, so for level 1, it says Reflejo's defense increases by 75% for 10 seconds when Ninth Moon Shadow lands. So you're getting a ton of defense increase from his level 1. And then for level 2, it says Fragment of Shadow is enhanced, increasing attack speed by 20 when the second basic attack lands, max 5 stacks. So he is pretty much getting like 100 attack speed increase, which is crazy. So level 2, really, really nice. And then for level 3, it says the first time Reflejo takes fatal damage in battle, he unleashes the power of the shadows to deal 500% of his attack as damage to nearby enemies, locks them for 4 seconds, and decreases their energy by 500 before dying. This level 3 is insane. That pretty much allows him to, decrease the enemy's energy before he dies. So that's really nice. The fact that he's able to do something crazy before he dies, really beneficial for the whole team. And then for level 4, it says Fragment of Shadow is enhanced, changing the evasion decrease of the second basic attack into evasion steal. So not only is he going to decrease the opponent's evasion, but he's going to steal their evasion, which is so good. So this is going to make him a lot more tankier because it's giving him a huge evasion boost. So overall, his exclusive equipment, you definitely want to level this up to level 4. This is very, very powerful for Reflejo. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at his gameplay. So you guys can see the evasion decrease right here. And when he decreased the enemy's evasion, he increased his own, not evasion, but when he decreased the enemy's physical and magic resistance, he increased his own physical and magic resistance. So we're just going to wait for him to do that one attack where he's stealing the enemy's physical and magic resistance. Wait for him to use it. Okay, there it is. So as you guys can see right there, it says magic and physical resistance increase. So he's actually stealing the opponent's physical and magic resistance, and he's applying that to himself. So that is so dope. The fact that he can steal physical magic resistance and evasion as well. That is just crazy. Now let's go ahead and use his ultimate right here. So this attack pretty much makes him invincible for like a couple seconds, and he's going to send the enemy airborne for like 4 seconds. So overall, man, this guy, I like him. I like his kit. I like the way he works. The evasion steal, the physical magic resistance steal, damage taking reduction is just so good overall. So let's go ahead and use his ultimate one more time. There it is. This character is really, really nice. Now let's go ahead and talk about ignition weapons. So the best ignition weapon for him is of course going to be Zila Set. This ignition weapon is pretty much going to increase his defense, and it's also going to increase his physical and magic resistance based off of how many enemies are pretty much still alive on the battlefield. So Zila Set, best set for him, and different alternatives. Now when it comes to the new sets, this set right here is going to increase your allies, the user's max HP and swiftness. And it says right here, if the wielder is inflicted with a status effect, it is immediately removed with Reflecia's blessing, and the wielder becomes immune to status effects for 2 seconds and recovers 200 energy. So this, ignition weapon set is pretty solid due to the fact that it's going to increase max HP and swiftness, and it's going to recover 200 energy whenever the user has a status effect, which is really, really dope. So I will say this set right here, you don't want to really focus on this set for Reflejo. You want to focus on the Zila set instead. But if you're looking for alternatives, this set wouldn't be too bad. I will say the set is very situational, because if the enemy is not inflicting status effects on you, then you're not going to activate the 4P set effect. So I will say Reflecia, this set is very situational, so I wouldn't build this on him, because you want him to have physical and magic resistance so he can increase his survivability, and he can pretty much stay alive for a pretty long time. Now this set right here, Alocasia, is going to increase the wielder's evasion by 50 until the end of the battle, and it says the wielder's evasion against an attacker's basic attack increases by 40%. If the wielder successfully evades an attack with this effect, their physical pierce increases by 6%. So the thing is, Reflejo, he has a lot of evasion. Like in his kit, the fact that he's able to steal evasion and apply that to himself, he can easily avoid, enemies who throw basic attacks at him. Now, the thing is, the physical pierce increase would pretty much allow him to do a little bit more damage, but you don't want to make Reflejo a DPS unit. He's pretty much a, debuffer bruiser. And his job is to pretty much debuff the enemies and you want him to stay alive. So Alocasia, I wouldn't put this on him because, he's a debuffer bruiser, not really a DPS unit. So when it comes to the two new ignition weapons, Reflecia, this one is situational, and then for Alocasia, it's just not built for Reflejo because he's just not a DPS character. He's mostly a tank, like not a tank unit, but mostly like a debuffer bruiser that has really good survivability and he's able to debuff enemies. So best set for him is going to be the Zila set. Now for your slot 4 and 5, you want to go for magic resistance and physical resistance. And then when we check out the stats, so what you want to focus on is, of course, getting defense as a substat isn't bad. Attack as a substat, I wouldn't want to build a lot of attack on him because he is not a main damage dealing unit. So getting some defense in his substats isn't too bad. You definitely want to get a lot of accuracy on him, put some accuracy on him so he can actually land his attacks. Swiftness, you can get that through Tri-Essence Facility. Magic and physical resistance, very important. But what's also pretty good is the fact that he can pretty much steal the opponent's magic and physical resistance. So Reflejo can easily go above 100% if you have at least, I'll say, probably like over 60% magic and physical resistance or over 70%. He can easily go above that 100% threshold. So aiming to get at least 70% magic and physical resistance, very beneficial for Reflejo. You don't want to get physical pierce or magic pierce on him. He's not a damage type unit. And lifesteal isn't too crazy, so wouldn't really focus on that. And that is pretty much it. So top stats, defense, he already has a lot of evasion through his kit. So if you have like a small amount, don't worry, you'll be able to get a lot of evasion through his kit. But I would recommend you guys to still get evasion as a substat. So defense, evasion, getting some accuracy is pretty good. And then of course magic and physical resistance, those are the top stats you want to focus on. Now when it comes to his gameplay in teams, now the good news is Reflejo is a universal debuffer bruiser unit, so you can pretty much put him in any team. His passive doesn't restrict him in a purple element, which is very good, so you can pretty much choose if you want to put him in purple element or not. Now the thing is he a nice addition to purple element? I feel like he is a nice addition. The fact that he's able to shave off enemies physical and magic resistance and apply that to himself and shave off their evasion as well, very, very powerful for purple element. So let me go ahead and show you guys some gameplay right here. So if I come over here, if I come back, head on over to adventure mode, I'm gonna show you guys my record. So I'm pretty sure for 58, okay, I use this team right here. So sometimes I would take out Kaseya and I would put in Joaquin. It really depends, but the main focus here is, of course, you want to make sure that Reflejo stays alive so that he's going to shave off the enemy's evasion and also shave off their physical and magic resistance, and he can apply that to himself. So his job is to pretty much debuff. That's his job. As long as he's able to stay alive, he did his job. And as you guys can see, as soon as his HP reaches really low, he's going to pretty much activate that level 3 exclusive equipment. And look at that, still alive, still going strong. And I pretty much used him with my Vargarv. Both of them together are actually pretty solid. Look at that right there. Look at all those debuffs on Punisher and just crazy. So I do feel like with Reflejo, it's going to be very hard for opponents or enemies to pretty much avoid your attacks because he is constantly just stealing their evasion, which is really, really good overall. Let's go ahead and show another gameplay right here. So this time, as you guys can see, Kaseya dealt a lot more damage right here. We're going to go ahead and replay this. And then I'm going to try to show you guys his performance in a boss stage. So we're going to go to a previous boss stage and you guys will see how well he can perform. Now, I will say when it comes to survivability, Reflejo has great survivability. Really, really good survivability. And, pairing that up with Hayura, the fact that she can revive is just a cheat code. Like, he's able to pretty much stay alive like 2 times. It's just crazy. Look at this right here. Look at that. The fact that he is tanking that is a hard spears is insane, but he ended up dying right there, which is totally fine. But the fact that he was able to stay alive more than Vargarv, and Vargarv is sitting at like 2 rainbow stars and he's sitting at like 1 purple star, is very impressive. So as guys can see, the damage taken right here, Vargarv took a lot more damage, but he still does his job, which is to pretty much debuff enemies. Now let's come over here to a boss stage. I'm pretty sure it was this stage right here. Yes, this was a boss stage. So same team again, right? Same team right here. Vivi dealt a lot more damage, and you guys can see the stats right here. Very, very powerful. So now this time, let's go ahead and do this boss stage right here. I'm just gonna put in 1 character for these rounds. We're gonna put in a Leroy instead because he's very squishy. We're gonna put Bomb in instead. So we're pretty much going to use the same exact team right here, and you guys are gonna see how well they can perform. Hit enter right here, and let's see what happens. Like, I'm actually impressed with this character. They did a really great job with Reflejo, and the biggest question is, no, is he a requirement for purple element? Not really. I don't think Reflejo is a requirement, but he is a nice addition to the element. He is a nice addition, and the fact that he is, you know, universal debuffer bruiser, very, very good. So, you know, taking some damage right here. As you guys can see, Hayur revives. Summon him back on the battlefield. Full HP yet again. So the Hayura revive cheat code is so dumb. Like, just look at this, man. It is insane. Like, if you pair him up with Hayura, he can just come back into the battlefield immediately. It's just overall crazy. So we're just gonna skip through these rounds right here and check out the stats real quick. All right, there we go. So now let's go and check out the stats, see how well the team performed. All right, here we go. As you guys can see, Vargarv doing a lot, and then Vivi dealing like a ton of damage right there, and then Kaseya taking a lot of damage, and of course, Reflejo pretty much there to debuff enemies. So overall, his gameplay really, really good. Like, his gameplay is very nice, and the things that he can do for your team is very, very beneficial long term. Now let's go ahead and take a look at his revolution. So for revolution tier 4, it says enemies hit by full moon shadow have your physical resistance decreased by 30% for 10 seconds. So he is shredding enemies physical resistance, he is not stealing it. And then for tier 5, it says fragment of shadow is enhanced, stealing 100 energy when the second basic attack lands. So he is pretty much getting additional energy with his tier 5, which is insane. The fact that he is stealing 100 energy, man, this guy's kit very, very good. So I will say, if you're trying to, you know, invest in Reflejo's tier 4 and 5, I would invest in other characters who are extremely important first, and then Reflejo's, his is actually pretty solid. Like, getting that additional energy and also, you know, shredding enemies physical resistance, very, very beneficial for units like, let's say, Joaquin or Vivi, because they are physical damage type units, and Kasei as well. So overall, this was actually very, very nice. Physical resistance shred, and of course, stealing opponents' energy. Now, I want to show you guys a quick replay of my attempt against Data Mash in Underground Laboratory, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. That Reflejo can literally interrupt Data Mash's ult, her shield. So let's let this load up. And this is very beneficial because evasion decrease against bosses is really, really good. Like, the only unit that was really good in terms of evasion decrease was Apple. Like, Apple, her evasion decrease was very, very strong. But the fact that Reflejo can interrupt and apply evasion decrease, and on top of that, you know, shred the enemy's physical resistance and steal that, like, bro, this is insane. So look at all of these debuffs. Look at the evasion decrease right here, right? Evasion decrease, physical resistance decrease right here. Like, dude, this is insane. So got some really good damage right over here. I'm pretty sure we reached like 2.8 billion damage for this attempt right here. We can do a lot better for sure, but Just want to show you guys how he's able to literally interrupt her shield. We're gonna wait for it to activate it one more time. I'm pretty sure it's gonna do it in like a couple seconds right here. We just have to wait. Let her do it. Come on, Data Machine, use your shield. The time I want you, the moment I want her to use her shield, that's when she doesn't want to do it. Come on, use your shield. Seems like she is literally not gonna do it. But you guys saw that. You guys saw Reflejo interrupting her shield. Very, very good, because her shield is actually very annoying to deal with, and the fact that he can actually, you know, get rid of her shield, that's actually pretty good long term. So Reflejo definitely going to be a great boss unit in terms of, you know, evasion decrease, physical and magic resistance decrease, and interrupting enemies. That's going to be very, very good long term. So how many copies do you need on him in order for him to work? Now, as you guys can see, I literally have him at 1 purple star. Like, he is doing perfectly fine with 1 purple star, but I would highly recommend you guys to aim for at least 3 red stars so that you can pretty much max out his kit. Once you max out his kit, he's going to be cooking, and you definitely want to get his revolution tier 4 and 5. I feel like it's going to make him a lot more stronger, and overall this unit is just very, very good. Very, very nice debuffing unit, and a pretty solid addition to purple element. Now, like I said, he is not a requirement. He is not a requirement. You don't have to summon for this unit, but if you are thinking about summoning for him, go for it. He is actually pretty solid. Very, very nice debuffing unit with great survivability overall. So Reflejo, my thoughts on this unit, good unit. I will rate him a solid 8 out of 10. He is an 8 out of 10 unit. He exceeded my expectations. I thought he was going to be, you know, a mid debuffing unit, but he is actually pretty solid overall. So definitely like this unit, and they did a great job with this kit. But that is pretty much all I have for you guys in today's video. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.